My names are John Olulope Ajayi, Fellow, National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, FNAMN, Publisher, CEO, Marketing Edge Publications Limited, and Group Head Consultant, Media Edge Limited. I was born and bred in Ajayi'S in Boyi local government area of Ekiti State. In June 12, 1963, to for Nathaniel Ajayi and Mrs. Durodola Ajayi, both of blessed memory. My parents were peasant farmers, but very prominent and highly famous personalities in our community because they were community leaders. I came from a very, very devout Catholic home. I was baptized into the Catholic Church on the 8th day, so we are committed Catholic in my family. I attended St. James's Catholic Primary School, Ajayi'S, where I had my primary school leaving certificate, 1976 to 77. 1976 to 77, I entered Ijemudu Comprehensive Grammar School and as one of the pioneering sets of that great school. In my days, getting admission into college, into higher college was highly competitive. We needed to write common entrance. Again, my going into that secondary school was predestined, because as a child of from a very polygamous family, I was the only person left with my old parents in the village to be supporting them on the farm. I grew up into this farming family at very early stage in life, while other students were made to travel to go and join our other cousins and relations outside our town. I was confined to stay with my family, with my father and mother. So I was going to the farm very religiously. But of course, as a growing up child, this really looked a bit challenging for me, because we used to go into very long distance farm of about 6 kilometers to the town. Initially, this experience was not funny. It was not funny in the sense that it was very tedious for me. I saw it as limiting and very arduous in terms of the hectic nature of having to trek to a long distance farm, and you still got there, you had to walk to impress a father that is a disciplinarian. Not many children of my generation were very happy or could cope with this kind of situation. But the challenging situation made me believe in hard work. It made me to believe that whatever you're doing, if you take interest in it, you will never be found wanting. When I knew I could not change my situation and circumstance, I embraced it with all equanimity. I became very passionate about farming. I became very passionate about working on the farms, going in the morning and not caring what time I came back in the evening. My father, who used to think that I was trying to be lazy initially, that I became very convinced about my ability. But again, I never allowed going to farm to debar me from having a mission and a vision for life. I would go to the farm in the morning, come back very late, almost well after when the sun has set. I would be so tired that I wouldn't be able to go out to either attend disco or nightclubs or wherever, like some children of younger generation like me used to do. What did I used to do with my time? I used to get myself busy in the house, reading novels, literatures, and drama books. And most times, reading biographies of great men. It was in the course of this that I became a bit more passionate in history. I became an avid lover of history, an avid lover of literature. It was in the course of my studies, reading biographies of great men, novels, literatures, and all that, that I got to know that behind every successful man, behind every legends, behind every heroes and heroines, there were so many untold stories of their early beginnings. Most of the time, 80% of these stories are stories in adversity, are stories in great resilience, are stories of great doggedness, and of course, exciting stories of grace to grace. I took passionately to farming, notwithstanding, but I took more passionately to learning, to study, more significantly. Even while doing this, a lot of my siblings thought that I would end up being a farmer like my late father. I used to laugh when they tease me that, where do I know? What do I know? You that you only stay behind in the village, all you do is go to the farm and all of that. But unknown to them, I was very determined, trained myself by studying hard to know the direction my future will go. I am emphasizing the issue of study and learning here because in Ekiti, where I come from, education is considered primus inter pares. That means first amongst every other thing. So I gave education a high priority. I was very studious. Again, I was very passionate about farming. I knew I had to be passionate about farming for my old man to pay my school fees. Even when I was in secondary school, I found it hard to be able to get my school fees paid as at when due, where the school fees of that other students were paid. I found it hard to get uniform. I also found it hard to get school shoes. I would go to the assembly with a multicolored dress, long sleeve given to me by my elder brother, roll up the sleeve to attend even classes up to like middle of the term before I was able to raise money to buy school uniform. Most times, they used to chase me out of assembly. They used to suspend me and some other poor indigent students like me because we couldn't appear in school uniform. Most times, They used to send me out because of their ability to pay school fees. I endured, I persevered. Each time they sent me out, I would need to take 1 or 2 weeks to also go and join my father on the farm before they would rescue me. But of course, how many people paid attention? Nobody paid attention because it was a polygamous home. My father, as I then married, had about 5 wives, of which my own late mother was the youngest. And we were many, like about 7 of us. I didn't know the number I belonged even up to now. So some have died, but I care not to count. But one thing that was important was that in the course of growing up, I knew I was going to get to a level in life. I have been very fascinated about histories, histories, and biographies of great men. I made reading these things to be a biblical commitment, kind of. And that's actually made me to see the future clearly on my palm, that I was going to be somebody in life. Most times when I had to support myself through school, I would go to do menial jobs, do laborer work, even on Sundays, to raise money, to buy pocket money, to serve as pocket money for maybe basic things like toothpaste, brush, and what have you. I was a day student, used to trek to school on a daily basis and come back. But of course, some of these actually shaped my worldview. I graduated from a secondary school, 1977, entered the Jomodu Comprehensive Grammar School, 1977, and the story was like that until I finished my secondary school in 1982. 1983, no admission to university. 1984, struggled with polytechnic, no admission. Then, of course, I needed 2 more papers to make up for my wife. I got that finally in GC 1983. 1984, struggled with university admission. I couldn't make it. 1985, my elder brother asked me to go to College of Education. I was reluctant. To go because that was not part of my strategic future plan. But because being the only person who could sponsor me, even though I wanted to be defiant, he told me pointedly that he was going to leave me alone, hands off from taking care of me if I should disobey him. In order not to be a disobedient child, I reluctantly took the form and went to Ondo State College of Education then. Now, College of Education in Kerekiti. I read English history. Falling in line because my earlier plan was to be a lawyer, not a journalist. But again, these 2 great professions were kicked against vehemently by my late elder brother, Mr. Stephen Ajayi, now of blessed memory. He was the only person that was ready to take up the responsibility of sponsoring me to school. And I found myself between the devil and the deep blue sea. I had no choice. I had to follow his advice. Went to College of Education. Spent 3 years in agony. When I was thinking of being in university, somebody said I should be in the College of Education. But of course, as God will have it, I came up at decision level from the College of Education. But it's tomorrow. Because I never wanted that degree, that certificate, you can never find it in my profile, in my CV. But I did it to please my elder brother. Again, upon finishing my College of Education, I told my elder brother I wanted to proceed to the University of Lagos to study law. But he said, no, you cannot go ahead and be doing degree program, that I needed to work. I asked him why. He said I had to work and sponsor myself through the remaining education that I may want to pursue. I said, why? He said, I was not the only child of our mother, that I need to pause so that others coming behind me could go to school. It was a very hot debate. He asked me to come over to join him in Lagos. I joined him in Lagos. They started looking for a job for me. But as God will have it, I never got a good job. I never got any job as an AC graduate. But there was a very funny incident. These are the things that I will not forget in the course of my life. There was a vacancy in the chamber of a lawyer located in Ogudu area of Lagos State. So one of my uncle's wife, I won't mention his name now, but that my uncle is now a king in my village. He got the hint of the vacancy in the lawyer's chamber in Ogudu, and now asked that maybe I should come and take up the job as a clerical officer. I now told myself, of what sense will it be that I, a graduate, an AC graduate, will not become a clerical officer? More particularly in a lawyer's chambers, when I was already thinking that I should have become a lawyer myself. Again, the rebel in me kicked against that proposal. I told them point blank that job was a no area for me. I was not going to be a clerical officer in any lawyer's chamber. That I look forward to myself being either a lawyer in future with my own chamber, or become a journalist of repute with my own media organization. And in fact, from childhood, the idea of being an employee was never an attractive option to me. I had always planned and hoped in life that I would be an entrepreneur. I was going to be an equal opportunity provider. When I rebelled against the proposal, my brother told me it was time to pack out and I need to go back to the village. He cannot continue to sustain me as I was not being realistic. I was excited because I would be allowed to go and fend for myself. At that point in time, I had to relocate from Lagos. I went back to the village. When I got back to the village, I became more aggressive in farming. Became more passionately aggressive in farming. I had my own yam plantations. I planted cassava on hectares of land. I planted maize. I planted rice. I planted all sorts of. I told myself that if I could plant in one season, a harvest of one season would take me through university. While working on the farm one day, my father came into the farm very early. Sometimes I used to get to the farm as early as 6 a.m. I was busy heaping heaps. And my father looked at me, took pity on me. He was shocked to see me on the farm. Like around 6 a.m., I had made up to about 250 heaps, sweating, but doing the job with all excitement and passion. And the old man shouted my name, John, John. I looked up. I was scared because it was very far away from thinking that maybe somebody was there to kidnap me. Lo and behold, the person I saw was my late father. He said, what is it that you are pursuing, that you are walking like a jackal? Immediately my father asked me that question. Tears rolled down my cheeks. And I had no choice. I told my father that, yeah, my elder brother has said he will no longer sponsor me through university. He had made me to go to College of Education. But that College of Education was not satisfactory to me because I needed more knowledge. Like I have read in the book, one of the publications of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, when Chief Awolowo said, a little learning is but a dangerous thing. You need to drink deep from the fountain of knowledge. I felt College of Education certificates or whatever was just to me a little learning. I needed a university education to drink deep from the fountain of knowledge. My father listened to my story. He saw me cry. He said, no problem. He will talk with me later when we get to the hut. After working in the farm till very late in the afternoon, we used to retire back to the hut where we eat and we now talk. When the sun comes down a bit, we can still go back to the farm and do some small weeding or whatever. So that late evening, got back to the hut. We ate, normally most times it can be pounded yam or whatever, the most common food in my area. My father now called me. He now said, John, what did you say you want to be? I said I wanted to be a lawyer or a journalist. And it is only in the university that I could learn this. But nobody was ready to sponsor me and all that. My father now said, okay, if that is it, you are already won. That he could see some seriousness in me, that none of his children had more money than him. He made a promise that he was going to sponsor me through university. I was so happy. But I never gave up in being a regular farm goer. I became more passionate about farming. In that year, I had standing about 6 or 7 bags of rice harvested from my farm. I had over 10,000 heaps of cassava. I had about 7,000 heaps of yam and rice and all that I planned to use. So when it was time to obtain JAMB, I obtained a direct entry form. My father gave me good money to come and obtain the form. To make sure that I never missed the opportunity, I came down to the University of Lagos to obtain JAMB. I obtained JAMB. I filled the form. I wanted to change to law. I wanted to do law, but university told me I could only change to law in my 200 level. I should come in first for with a BA in English. When the time for I processed my form, but of course I was admitted to the University of Lagos, but very competitive. When it was time for me again to get my admission letter, the story also took another interesting dimension. In those days, we didn't have a postal address at home. We normally use the church missionary address. So letters used to delay to get to the village. I waited for my admission letter, and my admission letter didn't come on time. I had to again tell my father that I needed to come to Lagos to check. My father supported me. He gave me transport money. Lo and behold, the day I traveled out of my village was when my admission letter got home. And one of my friends that we were classmates in the college who had been admitted into Federal University of Technology, 100 level student, was one who picked up my admission letter and took it to my father. My father saw it, he was excited, but I was reading in Lagos. Again, there was a small drama around about my admission. When I got to Unilag, I was told I needed to go to Oxford Street in JAMB office in Ikoyi. I looked at them, I burst into tears. I didn't know anywhere in Lagos. I only struggled to get to Lagos from Ojota, navigated my way through to University of Lagos, Akoka. And now somebody was telling me I had to go to JAMB office because I was coming a little late. It was the same day I got to University of Lagos in 1989, December 1989, that the new students were resuming. So I needed to move fast to catch up with my colleague. So a woman, God bless her memory, who worked in the University of Lagos admission office, whose father comes from a Ilesha area, saw me depressed, waiting another descending building of University of Lagos. I said, young man, what happened to you? I narrated my story in tears. He said, but you have to go to JAMB office and Hopkins Street. I said, I didn't know anywhere. And I'm a get lost. And I'm a villager from up country. The woman took pity on me because she's a senior staff in the admission office of University of Lagos. He collected my documents, acknowledged card and all that, and went upstairs to the admission office, University of Lagos, to the registrar's office, and was able to find out that among the students who registered with JAMB for direct admission at University of Lagos, my name was number 4 on the list. He now went to university or admission office. He collected the university copy of the admission letter. He got his stamp and brought it for me that I had to go ahead to register. I was so excited. It was as if I had conquered the world. I now took the letter in excitement to go and meet my brother who was in Lagos. And I told him the whole story. My brother still doubted me. He said, well, for him to even believe that I've gotten admission, I had to go back to my father so that he can give me money to show that he really wanted me to go to university. I laughed because he never knew the pledge and the promise my father had made with me. He also said something that touched me. He said there are so many admission letters, that they have so many Oluwole letter of admission in Lagos, and that this could be one of it. I didn't know what was made by Oluwole letter then. It was later in life I knew that Oluwole concept is referring to fake stuff that could be manufactured in Lagos. Immediately, I left Lagos the following day, went to meet my father. I got home. My father was already happy, was waiting to receive me. I remember vividly it was December. That was early December, like around December 10th, 1989. And it was usual practice every year. In those days, it was usual practice in the village that parents, particularly father, would give their children money to buy Christmas clothes and stuff like that. My father was so excited. He gave me price 3 times more than what he gave to other children of his for Christmas celebration. He narrated to me how my friend was the one who picked up my admission letter that had been lying fallow at the church mission house for weeks before I traveled. But the good story is that I got admission. That fascinated my father a lot and myself. So that began the story of my academic sojourn University of Lagos. And of course, the great man gave me good money. When I got back to Lagos, I showed the money to my brother. He couldn't believe it. What he said to me that I remember is that, oh, this old man wanted you to go to school. For him to have given you this huge sum of money, what he gave me then, if I should approximate, is like about 300,000. How much did I need? I need like about 180,000 there. So that was how I started. And again, I made a promise. I told myself that in the course of my university education, I will always go back to my village to go and farm with my father. I made it a pledge. I made it a covenant. I made it an allegiance. I never allowed social life in Lagos to pull me down, to hold me down in Lagos. Any public holiday, I was up to village. I will go to the village, I will be farming. A lot of parents will see me going to the farm early in the morning. They'll be wondering, this boy, he was a undergraduate student of uni. Almost all parents became very proud of me. They were all showing me love. And my father became more happier. I never gave up going to farm. I was farming, I was all sorts. But of course, I was also a very good student that went through university and allowed university to went through me. So what? Yes. Yes. In the course of my university education, while I was very passionate about farming, doing farming religiously in the village during holidays, whenever I got back to campus, I made sure I allowed the school, university to go through me, and I went through university. I became very active, positively active on all fronts. Student union leaders, tribal group leader. I was a public relations officer in leading in student unionism. I was one of those student union. I got bursary awards for indigenous students, myself and my ESCO. Under my leadership and my ESCO team, we brought many professors, doctors of Ondo and Ekiti Indigene to support our tribal association. I thank God for the opportunity to attend the University of Lagos. Again, in my second year, I wanted to change to law. Yet, my brother came and prevailed on me, insisting I should not change from pursuing my BA in English. Because I wouldn't want to drop out, I listened to him. I fulfilled his desire by completing my BA degree in English. I graduated in 1992, almost 30 years ago. I went for my national service in Abuja. Upon completion, I came back. I thought I was going to be one of the early settlers in Abuja to discover the milk and honey in the new Federal Capital Territory. But again, to my shock, I discovered that survival in Abuja in the early days was challenging. You actually, even if you are from the southern part, you will need to pay to get the employment form of teaching service. You have to pay for it. And talking about somebody like me who never wanted to be a teacher, even though I trained as a teacher, I found that to be an abomination. It was a discouragement in its entirety. I had to quickly relocate back to Lagos. For me, I have been used to the hustling life in Unilag and in Lagos. Because nowadays in Unilag, we used to do some extra coaching, jam coaching, wire coaching to support ourselves. And you make more money. I came back to Lagos. Reluctantly, I got a teaching appointment for 1 month at Apata Memorial High School. And it was the practice in that private school. They never allowed their teachers to go out for break because they were afraid. Those of us that were very young, brilliant, and versatile graduates from universities, we were very few. And they believed that we could just get job, the next month will disappear. So the practice in that school was that when a teacher resumed in the morning, he would not be allowed to go to leave the compound of the campus, the college campus, to step outside the gate until 4, 5 in the evening. By that time, there was nowhere you can go and look for a job. One afternoon, being an Ekiti man who likes swallow food, I was hungry. I needed to eat. They said teachers normally asked to go and eat where the student eats. And what are the foods available? The foods that were available were just rice, all this concoction, plantain, porridge beans, but those are not food to me. As an Ekiti man, I would want to eat something like pounded yam, amala, fufu, semo, or whatever. But this one afternoon, I wanted to go out, step out of the gate to go and eat. The gate man, who himself was a retired soldier, because the proprietor of the school was also a retired soldier from Omo Ekiti. He had given a certain instruction that the gate man was as powerful as the vice principal. He didn't allow me to go out. That was just my first model. And he asked me to go and take permission from the principal. Went to the principal's office. The principal directed me to the VP. I went to the VP, told him my mission. He gave me a written permission to go and give it to the gate man. I got to the gate. Instead of me to show it to the gate man in a gentleman manner, I was feeling overexcited, not knowing the rules of the school. And I was now telling the gate man, why would you even subject me to this kind of indignity? Now you said you need permission. This is permission for your information. Won't you now open the gate? The retired soldier felt bad. He thought I was rude to him. He thought I was rude. And I said, no, I was not rude, but I was just telling you. And I said, well, for me to have shown that kind of effrontery and undue and made a garrulous statement, I was not going to go out again, that the permission will not hold. I thought he was kidding. But when I was trying to make it to realize, he said he was going to beat me up. And I knew that this man may beat me up, nothing will happen. I quickly ran back to the VP. He asked me what happened. I said they have turned down my permission. He now used an intercom to call the kids. The man now told him that I came down, I was abusing him. I said I was not abusing him, but the VP said he will only believe what the gate man has told him. I now look at myself. Mr. VP, you are believing what the gate man tells you. You will not believe my story. He said yes. He said he has cancelled the permission. In all sincerity, I was prevented from going out for break for that day. They wanted to discipline me for my boldness. I recall one of the novels I have read, particularly in the famous book by Wole Soyinka, On-Demand Diet. And there was a particular quote that came to my mind. And that quote was, "The man dies in him who keeps silence in the face of tyranny." I felt preventing me from going out to go and even eat what would make me happy was tyranny enough. I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear it. And I told myself this would be my last day in this school. And God granted my prayer. I went straight the following day to go and meet an uncle who took me to go and meet, because I have been telling that uncle happened to be a brother-in-law. He knew how much I loved journalism or law. Early in the morning, I told him my plans. He said one morning I should come and meet him to go and he would take me to the publisher of the News and Temple. The News and Temple used to be one of the most radical media platforms that fought military dictatorship in Nigeria. It was the heydays of military junta. I woke up very early from my base in Mushi, as early as 5 a.m. Before 6 a.m., I was already at Odudubega to meet the man. He came out of his bedroom in pajamas and dropped me straight from Odudubega to Ajayi'S area, where the publisher of the News and Temple lived, Mr. Bayo Ononuga. Today, Bayo Ononuga is a publicity media director and publicity of the All Progressive Party candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a great leader, a visionary leader. And he took me to Bayo Ononuga's house. And the rest is history. But they told me I would start as a proofreader. I never mind, because I read English. Within 6 months of being a proofreader, I enrolled at Nigeria Institute of Journalism for my postgraduate diploma in journalism. I was working, I was schooling. It was tough, it was tedious, but it was exciting. I had a goal, I had a vision, I had a mission. I went through tortuous paths to become a journalist. I learned every rules that needed to be learned. I learned them in very hard ways. Sometimes we slept in office for 2 weeks. We were journalists who could not go out in daylight and brandish our ID cards because the military goons, the DSS, the SSS, they were looking for the radical journalists. It was the days of guerrilla journalism. Most times, we'll be walking on the street like a half-mad person. You don't want to be suspected. We used to have our production house in a very obscure corner, somewhere in Agege area. Our corporate head office used to be in Osolo away. But if they go there, they will never see anybody to arrest. Because we were seen as agents, as enemies of the state. That was the period I joined journalism. That made rebellion to be the spirit of rebellion to be stronger in me. But I also believe, having read great books like Tell Freedom, having read great books like The Man Died, there was no stopping me to remain or to become the voice of the voiceless. I love journalism with all passion. Journalism is my first love, and I took to it. The News and Temple, I must admit, paid for my school tuition fee in Ogba. I attended Nigeria Institute of Journalism, where I did my postgraduate diploma in journalism. I was working. I also registered for my master's degree in political science as a full-time student of the University of Lagos, when I was also a full-time staff. Then I moved on to DZ newspaper in 1985. I was a pioneering staff of DZ newspaper, where I was hired as a staff and feature writer. That was my research on journalism. And I introduced a column in the media, started writing on media marketing and advertising. I actually pioneered marketing and advertising brand of journalism in this newspaper. And I took delight in journalism the more by going after stories, exclusives, and all that. Sometimes crawling late nights and all that. I work in the news. I work in this day. I mean, after I left the news and Temple, after about 2 years, for a long time, I became a business correspondent. I later became a state house correspondent. Again, I had the opportunity to cover the governor's office, where I covered military governor Olaguseye Oyinlola then, who also handed over to the then military governor of Lagos State, Colonel Buba Marwa. Then later in 1999, when our own dear Ajayi'S became the executive governor of Lagos State in a major democratic election of 1989 that finally sent the military out of political power. That ended the hegemonic rule of the military. I was a state house correspondent. I was moved out of that to become a roving business reporter, and later I have covered multilateral and bilateral chambers of commerce. I'm a newsman. I'm also a convenient star writer in features and all that. There are very few bits I have never covered in the 30-year career in journalism. And yet, I never got comfortable being an employee. When I started covering marketing and advertising for this day, I became completely exposed to a new genre of journalism that challenged my intellect and enhanced my scholarship. I had to learn new register. I had to talk to new professionals who have special register for their trade and their profession. For you to communicate with advertising and marketing professionals, you must be intelligibly intelligible in their language, in their registers. Started attending different conferences, workshops, and seminars organized by the Advertising Practitioner Council of Nigeria, Association of Nigeria Advertising Practitioners, and all that. I love marketing. I became more engrossed in marketing and advertising profession. I started seeing myself as a unique breed of journalist from the run-of-the-mills, the traditional journalists that we meet in the newsroom. Because I was acquiring a new knowledge, a new knowledge area, I got accustomed to new knowledge center. And I took this passionately. But again, I was there covering the beats, enjoying myself. When again they seconded me to Alausa. That story was another watershed. When I was in Alausa covering Ajayi'S, there was an incident that happened. One night, Ajayi'S and his entourage, they were out. They were now going back to the Marina house, governor's house in Marina. And there was a concert being organized by British American Tobacco. Then they used to promote music, entertainment heavily. They call it Golden Tones Concert, being organized by Benson and Ajayi'S at Tafawa Balewa Square. You know, Ajayi coming from night events had to pass through the Muson Center. 3 a.m. his convoy was stoned. They were stoned by hoodlums. And it became a news which some reporters, crime reporters got. The incident happened Saturday to Sunday morning. No State House correspondent was with Ajayi. The following day, crime reporters got the story from Commissioner of Police because the case was indented. We missed the story. This is a missed story because our crime correspondent did not get the story. But you know, in my own case, I was another dog in this day. The editor, who was to sanction the reporter that missed the story, he failed to sanction the crime reporter. It was me, John Ajayi, sanctioned. You know what they did? They asked the editor to punish the reporter who missed the story, thinking that a query would be issued to the crime reporter. It was me, John Ajayi, that the editor, in his own misjudgment, queried. And in my reply, I said, yes, I cover State House, but none of us were there. No journalists from State House who cover State House for the newspaper organization or television station got the story. You know, in journalism, there's something you call news sources. News come from different sources. I was not there when the government was going out in the night. I was home. It was the crime reporter who was supposed to get the story for the newspaper. But my editor wrongfully sent me on indefinite suspension. I felt bad. Gentlemen, don't forget, I have told you I'm a rebel with a cause. I felt so bad. I had to turn my back on this year. Even some NUJ people, officials, they felt I should go and beg the publisher. I said, in my nature, I'm an Ekiti man. I don't beg to survive. I left this day in defiance. But as God will have it, 2 weeks after I left this day was when I got the first PR brief from a multinational company. I went under the bridge, Ikeja, to go and type the proposal. The first proposal ever I typed, I did to get the job. Fetch me an amount, the profits that was ×2 of what this year will pay me for a month, for a year. Sorry. That was my biggest PR brief. First biggest PR brief. In the course of being a reporter or journalist, I was never a PR or media relations person. I was strictly a journalist. But a friend of mine used to be a marketing manager in a company, in a beer manufacturing company. He introduced me to the marketing director. And he said I could do the job. And I did the job very brilliantly. And they paid me close to like about 450,000, apart from the money to execute the brief. That was the first money I used to buy my first car, and soon the Sun Bluebird. I knew within me that if a road does not close, another one will never open. For a new road to open, one road must be closed. And that was very instructive. I'm a highly philosophical-minded person. And I started hustling, started to be my own boss. Because I also knew a little bit about the publisher of this newspaper. He's not so much a conventional person. He's a genius, an entrepreneur, and a rebel too, a very dynamic individual who believe in the power of possibilities. I believe everything is possible. And I took that from him. And I know that survival is not a big deal to him. You know so much about the way he used to struggle here and there to become who he is today. I took that learning. And I told myself I was not going to look for a job. But I'll not lie, I was called again to get a job, go back and be a consultant writer to the Comment when they set up the Comment newspaper in the year 2000. I joined them middle of 2000. I worked there till like 2002. I was doing the job for them. They had issues paying salary and all that. But it never bothered me because it was also preparing me as a private person. Not that I didn't need the money. I needed the money. But because they were not paying me, I had to struggle to make sure I pay my bills. Doing every legal things that will make me to survive. Not depending on the organization. While some of my colleagues then, they were wholly dependent on salary. I was running around, doing journalism, writing report, filling my colors, but again, legitimately going after media relations and public relations. In 2003, I floated my first company, Media Edge. I floated Media Edge in 2002. In the course of that year, I did the first corporate project, special project in the Comment newspaper, focusing on advertising and marketing in Nigeria. I generated about 6 million naira, good money, for the Comment newspaper. I collected my own commission, about 20 or 25% there, good money. That was the money I used to do my wedding. That gave me the eye-opener that I can actually be publishing my column as a standalone publication. Because the project I did that brought in about 6 million was a pull-out. We call it brand forces behind the brands. We focus on all the agencies, service companies in the integrated marketing communications. They subscribed to the project very, very handsomely. They paid. And when I pulled it out, it was like a standalone publication. At that point, I said, Marketing Edge must debut. So in 2003, I went around, looked for people to support, and set up Marketing Edge. Even the people I met, they wanted to indirectly use me, but it didn't work out. I don't want to go into that long story. But they never invested or contributed into the publication in terms of paying their, shares, and it was tough. They provided tables, chairs, and office apartment, but it was nowhere. Eventually, I carried on. Since September 3, 2003, to now, I have never looked back. When I started Marketing Edge, there were stories that will not go far. Some of my friends, they doubted me. Some of my associates, they pitied me. Some people, they resisted me. In fact, the sing song, the story, the rumor they peddled behind me, the gossip they carry around about behind me was, Let's see how far it will go. I got to hear some of these things in the course of the years, but rather than being disappointed, rather than being wicked, I resolved resolutely to soldier on. I have soldiered on year in, year out, improving on my practice, improving on my trade, and improving on my career and offerings. I never gave up. It was tough, it was challenging, it was highly, highly incredible. But we thank God we surmounted the odds. And sometimes when it looked like there were no payment for marketing adverts, despite the fact that I had a publication, I used to be a consultant to establish publications like the Tell, the News, the Guardian, this day, where I will go and do a special publication to raise money, to survive. I was doing this constantly early in the years. Because in Nigeria, to be a private business entrepreneur, the road will be rough. There is no doubt about it. I have gone through very rough roads. Sometimes I will do a special project for the news, make about 4 million for them. My profit may not be more than 1 million. But for me, it was better than nothing. Nobody will give you money. You want to start your business. And I started growing gradually. To the glory of God, we have a story to tell. We have built a system that has organically evolved in this very tough terrain. Yeah, Marketing Edge has evolved over time through resilience, through doggedness, through purposeness, through vision, through mission. With a goal, we want to remain the avant-garde, authoritative, agenda-setting news platform in the Nigerian marketing and advertising ecosystem. Today, we have become a thought leader. But of course, I have built a brand name for myself in the industry in the course of the years. Even since my tutelage years and oppressive years in this day, John Ajayi has become a brand name, an established brand equity within the Nigerian marketing and advertising ecosystem through resilience, through doggedness, through purposefulness, and through mission and vision. We are not yet where we want to be, but we thank God today when we talk industry releases, we are a force to be reckoned with in the Nigerian marketing and advertising ecosystem and in the Nigerian media market space. We have created a brand equity for ourselves. We continue to innovate. We continue to ideate. We continue to challenge ourselves. We continue to contribute optimally and meaningfully in expanding the frontiers of marketing and advertising knowledge in Nigeria. With age, experience, we continue to grow in status and in stature. We remain that very, very avant-garde media organization with a can-do spirit all the time, every time. We have been leading conversation. We've become a thought leader in this environment in the area of brand management business and the management of brand business. Today, we have initiated different initiatives in the area of promoting the brand, the marketing and advertising knowledge. We have made use of the digital age by having our news headlines syndicated or streamlined online digitally on major LED billboards in Lagos, Abuja metropolis. We have a digital newsletter that we send out to our subscribers regularly every day. We have a very, very reader-friendly, top-notch, target-centric website comparable with global media websites like the Adweek, Campaign, Adage, of developed societies. We have a very innovative television program which we have created in partnership with CVC, a leading broadcast group with innovation at the heart of their operation. We came up with this initiative 2 years ago, and that is Marketing Edge on TV. Today, that initiative continues to gain recognition and resonance. We now have some radar television stations asking us to come and partner with them. We now have Marketing Edge on TV showing on WAP TV. It shows on TVC 12:30 to 1 p.m. and on Saturday on TVC 1:30 to 2 p.m. We have this program showing on WAP TV 8:30 to 9 p.m. on Wednesday and 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Thursdays every week. As we have it today, we have gotten an invitation from Mass TV and radio to come and replicate what we are doing in TVC or Mass TV. Wazobia TV. And other radio television stations are asking us to come. We do this to continue to expand the frontiers of marketing and pricing knowledge. Our joy and our passion is the value we bring to the table. We believe in creating value for all stakeholders within the value chain. Be it students, be it the consumers, be it the industry leaders, industry players and gladiators, you have something to take away from Marketing Edge on TV, which is a 30 minutes potpourri on happenings, developments in the Nigerian marketing and advertising ecosystem. We have a section of this 30 minutes program on brand news. We have a section on it on industry conversation or brand focus, and a section of it on industry conversation. It's a potpourri meant to excite the industry and serve as a compass for industry players and gladiators in navigating the difficult marketing and advertising terrain. To the glory of God, we have been able to fulfill that gap behind knowledge and the industry. The challenge of the Nigerian economy today is more of depth of knowledge in all areas, in all disciplines, in all professions. But with the coming of Marketing Edge on TV, we have been able to enhance professionalism. we have been able to stimulate the growth of knowledge, capacity building. We have not only stopped at that, we have also initiated the quarterly summit where we initiate topics and discussions around contemporary issues, both at local and global level. Every quarter, we bring in seasoned professionals, industry intellectuals to ventilate their views on contemporary issues, challenging or mitigating their practice and profession. It used to be a virtual summit that people in Europe, America, every part of the world is subscribed to. We are happy leading this conversation. We are not relenting on it. We have also introduced an annual marketing event in the form of National Marketing Stakeholder Summit. We call it Marketing National Annual Stakeholder Summit and awards, brands and awards of excellence. We just had the 10th edition last September. It was a festival of idea. It was a festival of brands. Highly intellectualized morning session at the summit. And the evening, we had big fun with brands and advertising awards. Looking back, we can only sit back and thank God for the journey so far. So far, it's been so good, but the road has been full of thorns and tears. But we have survived it all. Why? Because we have a goal, we have a mission, we have a vision. And of course, we will never deceive ourselves from day one that for us to get the sweet, there must be sweat. We never deceive ourselves that to get the gain, we must get the pain. We have survived the pains, we are gradually getting the gains. Not yet there, but we will soon be there. Journey so far. To God be the glory. Thank you for listening.